Every experienced rider knows a motorcycle can be a great machine and still be a terrible purchase. That is exactly what is happening right now. Some bikes still ride well, some still sound good, some still carry a big name on the tank. But once resale drops, buyer confidence disappears, and dealers stop wanting them on trade, the whole story changes. Today, we are looking at the motorcycles that are losing value hard in 2026. The reasons buyers are backing away, and why some of these machines are turning into expensive regrets. Watch until the end, because one of these motorcycles has fallen so far that even longtime riders are shocked by what it is worth now. Number 7. Victory Cross Country. Across long American highways, certain motorcycles once carried the quiet respect of riders who valued distance over flash. These were the machines built for crossing state lines without drama. Machines that felt steady in crosswinds and comfortable after 300 miles in the saddle. For many touring riders in the late 2000s and early 2010s, that reputation belonged to a particular big twin bagger that arrived promising a genuine alternative to the usual choices on the road. Early impressions were strong. Riders noticed the wide fairing, the stretched fuel tank, and the low center of gravity that made the motorcycle feel planted, even at highway speed. The riding position worked well for long days in the saddle, and the big twin engine delivered the kind of relaxed torque that touring riders appreciate. It felt like a motorcycle designed by people who understood the rhythm of long-distance travel rather than the flash of short rides between coffee shops. Owners who spent real miles on the machine often described it as predictable in the best possible way. The bike tracked straight through long sweepers and remained calm under heavy luggage loads. For riders used to covering several states in a weekend, that kind of stability matters more than flashy technology or trend-driven styling. The motorcycle became a familiar sight outside diners, truck stops, and roadside motels where long-distance riders gather. Yet motorcycles live inside a larger ecosystem than most riders realize. Dealer networks, parts supply chains, and brand confidence quietly shape the long-term life of every model on the road. When that support structure weakens, even a capable motorcycle can lose its standing in the market. Riders who once admired the machine began thinking about the future. Who would service it, how easy it would be to find replacement parts, and whether resale would remain stable. Uncertainty slowly crept into the used market as buyers hesitated, not because the motorcycle became unreliable, but because long-term support felt less certain. Experienced riders know a touring machine is not just a weekend toy, but a commitment measured in thousands of miles. Even though the engine and chassis remained capable, fading, confidence in the badge quietly softened resale values. A 1,731 cubic centimeters air cooled Freedom V twin engine, producing 106 pound-feet of torque powers the motorcycle. Braking uses dual front discs with anti-lock braking system and a rear disc. Suspension includes conventional telescopic front forks paired with a rear air adjustable shock. Wet weight sits around 845 pounds, while seat height measures approximately 26 inches. The starting price once stood around $20,000. Another motorcycle soon proves that maintenance costs can erode resale confidence even faster than uncertainty about the future of a brand. Number 6. Ducati Scrambler Icon. Some motorcycles arrive wrapped in nostalgia. The styling calls back to dusty back roads, desert races, and an era when riders chased freedom without worrying about ride modes or complicated dashboards. When this machine first rolled into showrooms, it leaned heavily into that feeling. The lines were simple, the stance upright, and the whole design seemed to promise something honest. It looked like a motorcycle that belonged beside an old gas station on a quiet, two-lane highway, rather than under bright showroom lights. At first glance, the appeal made sense. Riders appreciated the straightforward layout and the idea of a light machine that focused on fun rather than outright speed. It carried just enough retro character to make it stand apart from modern sport machines. For riders who remembered older standards and scramblers from decades earlier, the shape felt familiar. Many riders who swung a leg over the saddle described the experience as relaxed and approachable. The riding position allowed clear visibility down the road, and the handlebars sat naturally in the rider's hands. Around town, the motorcycle felt nimble and easy to maneuver through traffic or tight parking lots. In that environment, the machine delivered exactly what the design suggested. Yet motorcycles earn their reputation after the honeymoon period ends. Real ownership always reveals more than a quick test ride around a dealership block. Over time, riders began discussing the realities that arrive once service schedules appear in the owner's manual. Valve adjustments and specialized maintenance tasks reminded some owners that the simple appearance of the motorcycle did not always translate into simple ownership. Experienced riders pay attention to those details. A machine that feels light and enjoyable on a weekend ride can begin to feel different when service costs become part of the conversation. That shift in perception does not happen overnight. Instead, it builds gradually through stories shared at local shops, roadside diners, and long conversations during fuel stops. Another factor shaping the motorcycle's reputation involved expectations. Riders drawn to retro styling often expected a low-maintenance machine similar to older air-cooled standards. When ownership proved more involved than anticipated, enthusiasm cooled slightly. This did not mean the motorcycle lacked character or capability. Despite those concerns, it still offers a unique personality. The upright stance keeps riders comfortable on shorter rides, and the compact layout moves easily through city traffic, giving the bike lasting charm. An 803 cubic centimeters air-cooled L-twin engine produces 73 horsepower and 49 pound-feet of torque. Braking uses a single front disc with anti-lock braking system and a rear disc. Suspension includes an upside-down front fork paired with a rear monoshock. Wet weight stands around 388 pounds, while seat height measures roughly 31 inches. The starting price once hovered around $9,400. Farther down the list sits a motorcycle whose bold styling captured attention everywhere it parked, yet long-term practicality shaped a very different story. If this breakdown is helping you see the motorcycle market differently, take a second to like the video, subscribe for more honest motorcycle insights, and share your thoughts below about which bike surprised you the most so far. Number 5. Harley-Davidson 48. Every rider has seen a motorcycle that looks perfect, parked under the glow of a gas station light. Low stance, thick tires, and just enough chrome to remind you that attitude still matters in the world of American iron. Machines like that pull riders in with a single glance. They promise a connection to the stripped-down bobbers that once ruled back roads and city streets long before electronics began creeping into every corner of motorcycling. When this machine appeared, it carried that spirit proudly. The design leaned heavily into heritage. A compact fuel tank sat high on the frame, the bars were wide and commanding, and the front tire looked bold enough to anchor the entire stance. It was a motorcycle that seemed built for riders who appreciate tradition more than trends. Parking lots told the story clearly. Wherever the bike appeared, it attracted attention. Riders walked past it slowly, studying the proportions and remembering older customs that inspired its look. For many riders, the appeal had little to do with speed or technical innovation. It was about personality. A motorcycle like this felt like a visual statement. Once the engine fired to life, the experience felt familiar to riders who grew up around big American twins. The rhythm through the bars and the deep mechanical pulse through the seat reminded many riders why they fell in love with motorcycles decades earlier. Around town, the machine felt compact and responsive, perfect for short rides through familiar streets. However, motorcycles reveal their true character after more miles accumulate. Riders who took the machine beyond quick evening rides began noticing practical compromises. The compact fuel tank that contributed so much to the motorcycle's classic appearance also limited how far the bike could travel before the next stop became necessary. On longer rides, that detail mattered more than styling. Comfort also became part of the conversation. The riding position remained aggressive for a cruiser, and the suspension carried a firm character that many riders felt after extended time in the saddle. Riders who valued long-distance comfort began questioning whether the design placed appearance ahead of practicality. None of this erased the machine's identity. It remained one of the most recognizable silhouettes in the modern cruiser market. The proportions stayed faithful to the minimalist philosophy that inspired it. Yet experienced riders often evaluate motorcycles differently after decades on the road. They begin weighing real usability against pure visual appeal. Over time, that evaluation shaped the used market. Riders admired the motorcycle's look, but sometimes chose different machines when planning longer journeys or everyday riding. The result was not a sudden collapse in reputation, but a gradual shift in how the motorcycle fit into real-world ownership. A 1200 2 cubic centimeters air-cooled Evolution 5 twin engine produces approximately 70 pound-feet of torque. Braking uses a single front disc with anti-lock braking system and a rear disc. Suspension includes conventional front forks paired with dual rear shocks. Wet weight sits around 545 pounds, while seat height measures roughly 26 inches. The starting price once stood near $12,600. A touring machine farther ahead reveals how size and cost can influence long-term value in ways many riders never expected. Before we go further, take a look at the description for the gear and accessories linked below. A motorcycle can lose value fast, but good gear is still one of the smartest investments you can make. Number 4. Harley-Davidson Tri Glide Ultra. There comes a point in many riders' lives when balance becomes less important than comfort. Long highways still call. The desire to travel remains strong. Yet handling a heavy touring motorcycle at slow speeds begins to demand more effort than it once did. At that moment, 3 wheels begin to look less like a compromise and more like a practical solution for staying on the road. Machines built around that philosophy appeared to solve a real problem. They allowed riders to continue crossing state lines without worrying about holding up 800 pounds of steel at every stoplight. Stability at low speed, confidence in parking lots, and the ability to carry serious luggage all made the concept appealing for riders who valued long-distance travel. For many riders, the appeal was immediate. The riding position remained familiar, the controls worked just like a traditional touring motorcycle, and the wide rear stance provided reassuring stability in slow traffic. Riders who had spent decades on 2 wheels discovered that the transition felt surprisingly natural. On the open highway, the experience could feel almost effortless. With the added wheel in the rear, the machine stayed planted in crosswinds and steady through long sweepers. For riders who still wanted to see the country 1 mile at a time, that kind of stability carried real value. The machine delivered a touring platform designed around endurance rather than speed. Yet, the touring market follows its own rules. Large touring machines always represent a smaller portion of the motorcycle world, and 3-wheel machines narrow that audience even further. Riders who want the configuration often keep their machines for years. That means fewer used buyers enter the market at any given time. Cost also plays a role. Touring machines with this level of equipment command serious prices when new. Buyers entering the used market begin asking practical questions about maintenance, storage space, and long-term ownership. Those questions influence resale values even when the machine itself remains capable. Still, many riders who own the machine remain loyal to it. The sense of stability allows them to continue traveling well into later years, and the ability to carry a passenger and luggage without worrying about balance can be liberating. In that sense, the machine serves exactly the purpose it was designed for. What changes over time is not necessarily the machine itself, but the size of the audience willing to purchase one. With fewer buyers actively seeking large 3-wheel tourers, resale values respond to the realities of supply and demand. An 1,868 cubic centimeters Milwaukee 8114 V-twin engine produces approximately 119 pound-feet of torque. Braking uses triple disc brakes with anti-lock braking system and linked braking control. Suspension includes a front telescopic fork paired with a rear trike suspension setup, using coil over shocks. Wet weight exceeds 1,200 pounds, while seat height sits near 27 inches. The starting price once reached about $45,000. Further along the list stands a luxury touring motorcycle, whose complexity tells a different story about long-term value. If you want more straight talk about motorcycles, resale values, and the machines riders should avoid or consider, make sure you subscribe now. More deep breakdowns are coming, and the bikes still ahead on this list might surprise you. Number 3. BMW 1600 GTL. Long before riders begin talking about horsepower or styling, many touring veterans focus on one thing first: how a motorcycle feels after several hundred miles in a single day. A machine built for serious distance must carry its rider through heat, wind, and endless highway miles without creating fatigue. When a touring motorcycle succeeds at that task, it earns a quiet respect among riders who spend real time in the saddle. When this large luxury tourer first appeared, it arrived with a reputation for engineering precision. The motorcycle carried a long, sweeping profile that signaled comfort and stability. Wide bodywork wrapped around the front of the machine, shielding the rider from wind, while hinting at the complexity hidden underneath the fairing. For riders accustomed to traditional touring motorcycles, the design felt both familiar and advanced. The first miles on the road revealed the personality of the machine. Power delivery came smoothly and effortlessly, allowing the motorcycle to build speed without the heavy vibration some riders expect from large touring engines. The ride quality felt refined, and highway cruising often felt closer to gliding than riding. Riders who appreciated quiet mechanical confidence noticed the difference immediately. Comfort also played a central role in the design. The seating position kept the rider upright while the handlebars rested naturally in the hands. Large floorboards supported relaxed leg placement, allowing riders to stretch slightly during long interstate runs. For riders who measure trips by the number of states crossed rather than the number of corners carved, that comfort carried real meaning. However, touring motorcycles built around advanced engineering eventually face a challenge familiar to experienced riders. Complexity increases with every added feature. Electronic systems, adjustable suspension components, and integrated technology deliver impressive capability when everything operates perfectly. Yet, each added system also increases the number of parts that may require attention later in the motorcycle's life. Owners who keep machines for years begin thinking about that reality. Once warranties expire, repair costs become part of the ownership equation. Riders accustomed to simpler touring motorcycles often weigh those factors carefully before committing to a used example filled with sophisticated electronics. Despite those concerns, the machine continues to command respect on the open highway. The riding experience remains smooth and controlled, especially during long-distance travel where stability and power matter most. Few motorcycles deliver the same sense of mechanical refinement when covering large distances across wide American landscapes. Still, the used market often responds to practicality as much as performance. When buyers begin calculating long-term service costs, even an impressive touring machine can face hesitation. That hesitation quietly shapes resale values over time. Beneath the luxury touring bodywork lies a powerful platform built around smooth, six-cylinder performance and advanced suspension engineering. 160 horsepower comes from a 1,649 cubic centimeters inline six-engine producing 133 pound-feet of torque. Braking uses dual front discs with anti-lock braking system and a rear disc. Suspension features a duo-lever front setup paired with a rear electronically adjustable suspension unit. Wet weight reaches roughly 789 pounds, while seat height measures near 32 inches. The starting price once reached approximately $28,500. Higher on the list stands a motorcycle whose sheer size and ambition shaped a very different conversation among experienced riders. Number 2. Triumph Rocket 3R. Every rider has seen a motorcycle that stops conversation before the engine even starts. It might be the sheer size of the engine, the unusual proportions, or the feeling that the machine exists outside normal expectations. When a motorcycle carries that kind of presence, riders gather around it almost instinctively, studying the details and trying to understand what kind of engineering could create something so extreme. This machine entered the market with exactly that effect. The proportions looked massive compared with most cruisers on the road. The engine stretched across the frame like a statement piece of mechanical sculpture, and the entire motorcycle projected the kind of confidence usually reserved for high-performance machines. Riders who appreciate bold engineering immediately recognized that it represented something different. Initial impressions centered around the engine. The motorcycle produced enormous torque, delivering power in a way few machines could match. Twist the throttle, and the response felt immediate and forceful. Riders accustomed to large cruiser engines often describe the sensation as overwhelming in the best possible way. It felt like the motorcycle could pull through any gear without hesitation. On open highways, the experience remained impressive. The engine delivered smooth power that built steadily without strain. Long, straight roads allowed riders to feel the strength of the machine while maintaining a relaxed riding posture. For many riders, the engine alone made the motorcycle unforgettable. Yet motorcycles built around extremes sometimes face challenges once the excitement fades. Riders who spend years covering long distances often prioritize balance over spectacle. Comfort, maneuverability, and everyday usability gradually become more important than raw output numbers. Weight and size began entering conversations among owners. While the machine remained stable on highways, navigating tight parking spaces or slow traffic required more attention than smaller cruisers. Riders who preferred lighter machines sometimes hesitated when considering ownership. Another factor involved practicality. The motorcycle delivered incredible performance, but many riders questioned how often they would truly use that level of power during normal riding. Machines designed around enormous output often appeal strongly to enthusiasts, but attract a narrower group of buyers in the used market. None of this erased the engineering achievement behind the motorcycle. The engine remained one of the most powerful production cruiser engines ever built, and the design continued to stand apart from nearly every other machine on the road. Riders who valued uniqueness still appreciated the bold concept. However, resale markets often reflect practical ownership decisions rather than admiration alone. When a motorcycle serves a very specific type of rider, the pool of potential buyers becomes smaller over time. That reality gradually influences resale values. A 2,458 cubic centimeters liquid-cooled inline 3 engine produces 165 horsepower and 163 pound-feet of torque. Braking includes dual front discs with anti-lock braking system and a rear disc. Suspension features an upside-down front fork paired with a rear monoshock. Wet weight reaches roughly 761 pounds, while seat height sits near 30 inches. The starting price once stood close to $20,000. One final motorcycle remains, and its reputation once convinced riders they were looking at the future of adventure touring. Number 1. BMW R1250GS Adventure. Some motorcycles earn their reputation slowly, mile after mile, across deserts, mountain passes, and endless highways. Riders talk about them the way veterans talk about reliable tools. They may not always be the flashiest machines in the showroom, but they build a reputation that grows stronger with every story told around a campfire or across a garage workbench. This motorcycle built exactly that kind of reputation. For years, it represented the idea that a single machine could travel almost anywhere. Riders loaded luggage onto the back, pointed the front wheel toward distant horizons, and trusted that the bike beneath them could handle whatever the road turned into next. Early impressions focused on versatility. Many motorcycles perform well in one specific environment. Some excel on highways. Others dominate dirt trails. Few manage to balance both worlds without sacrificing comfort or stability. The reputation of this machine grew precisely because it seemed capable of handling both. Long-distance riders quickly appreciated the upright riding position. Wide handlebars and a tall seat created a commanding view of the road ahead. For riders who spend long hours in the saddle, posture matters more than horsepower figures or flashy styling. Durability also played a role in shaping the motorcycle's image. Stories circulated among riders about journeys crossing entire continents without major mechanical problems. That kind of reliability carries enormous weight among experienced motorcyclists who understand that adventure machines must endure harsh conditions. Still, motorcycles built for extreme versatility often come with compromises. The same design that allows off-road capability can also introduce challenges during everyday riding. Height became one of the most common discussion points among owners. A tall seat and long suspension travel create excellent ground clearance and off-road control. Yet for some riders, especially those accustomed to lower touring machines, the height requires confidence and experience. Maneuvering the bike at low speeds can demand more attention than traditional cruisers. Weight also enters the conversation. Adventure motorcycles often carry additional equipment designed to protect the engine and improve durability during off-road riding. These components increase the overall mass of the machine, especially once luggage and fuel are added for long journeys. Even with those factors, admiration for the motorcycle remained strong. Riders continued to view it as a symbol of freedom and exploration. Its reputation grew not because it was perfect, but because it delivered something rare: the confidence that a rider could leave civilization behind and keep moving forward. Markets eventually reflect changing preferences. As more riders choose machines designed specifically for comfort or simplicity, large adventure motorcycles sometimes appeal to a narrower group of buyers. That shift gradually affects resale values, even for machines with legendary reputations. A 1,254 cubic centimeters liquid-cooled boxer twin engine produces 136 horsepower and approximately 105 pound-feet of torque. Braking includes dual front discs with anti-lock braking system and a rear disc. Suspension uses a telelever front system paired with a rear paralever setup. Wet weight reaches roughly 591 pounds, while seat height sits near 35 inches. The starting price once approached $23,000. Motorcycles do not become worthless overnight. It happens when rider trust fades, resale drops, and the market quietly moves on. That is why paying attention now can save you from a bad deal later. Some of these bikes still have charm, but charm alone does not protect your wallet. If this video helped you see the market more clearly, like the video, subscribe for more honest motorcycle breakdowns, and tell me in the comments which bike shocked you most, or which one you think still deserves a second look.